Hey, how you doing? This is one of those run back in the house and get your camera videos. Let me let this thing roll here for you. It's not exactly very spectacular, but I was seeing a blinking going on when I first looked at it, and I thought, well, it's probably a airplane with a landing light on. But once I realized it didn't quite fit that scenario, I went back inside, got the camera, and tried to lean on something to get some video footage of it. And when this is done, I'll show you some screen grabs of it. This is to show you that these are actual screen grabs of this thing here. That right there is not motion blur. What that is that blinking that you were seeing in the video there earlier. So you can see it's not very intense, but it is basically a duplication of the object itself. You see what I mean? It's just kind of casting off a shadow, if you will, of itself, or a duplicate image. So that's not an aircraft strobe that I'm familiar with. These are screen grabs that I put through a filter. And in these you can kind of see that magnetic difference between one side and the other in some of these, where there's a container on the inside and another field of some type on the outside of it. And you can see that blink right there on the left. That's not quite complete. In other words, that's not a strobe or a wingtip light that's blinking. You know, it's just it's like a electrical discharge, basically, that's coming off of it. And an interesting thing here that I notice also is, again, this six-sided configuration in this object here. And again, if this was a strobe of some kind, it wouldn't be that dull when it strobed. So I know this is not an aircraft; it's something else entirely different. These screen grabs here are kind of patchy, for lack of a better term, but putting it through that filter and enlarging it is what causes that. Now, what I did here was I took and enlarged this a little bit more because I want to show you something. This image here, okay, was taken back on May 23rd, 2018. Now, this is an actual photograph that hasn't been enhanced in any way. And look at the similarity between it and this object here. You can see that post in the center and then an outside container around it, which to me amounts to a Faraday cage, that protects people that are inside from electricity on the outside. And I think this is a reverse of that. In other words, you've got something going on the inside here that this Faraday shell or container on the outside is preventing this electrical charge being generated here, I think, by this vortex generator, and it's not allowing it to go beyond the construct of this shell on the outside. Now, what also makes this interesting to me is that this was 2 seconds, okay, at 18.7 millimeters, taken with a Nikon 900. Now, why that to me is interesting is because this is not a planet or a star that's out of focus, not at 18 millimeters. I have a cell phone here that's got a 27 millimeter lens in it, and you're not going to get stars out of focus like that with a 27 millimeter lens. So these things, for some reason, get rather close at times, and it makes for interesting photographs. So I just wanted to put this on here along with that those screen grabs from that video there, because they're really very similar in a lot of ways. Like I said, this has not been put through any filters at all. That was the natural color of it. So they get pretty close sometimes for some reason. So anyway, thanks for having a look, and appreciate you watching. And take care out there. Thanks again.